The stranger breezed into the saloon like a blunt summer wind. He glanced at the old man behind the bar, and then at the busty woman wiping off the upright piano. What really caught his attention was the guy hunched over the table in the far corner of the room. "What can I do you for?" the barkeep said. The stranger rested his hand on his holstered revolver, eyes locked on the guy in the corner. The man had an empty mug in front of him. His hands were under the table. "I'm looking for someone," he replied. "Judging by your demeanor," the barkeep said, "you aim to do that someone harm." When the stranger didn't answer, the saloon girl said, "Who you looking for, fella?" "Someone new in town. Came in last night." "Well, fella," the saloon girl said, "you're the only new one in town. Old Clyde's been tending bar for as long as I've been alive, and Ricky J over there in the corner is just as old as me." The stranger grunted, but didn't change direction from the mute Ricky J. "This person showed up after them lights fell last night." "Ooh, that," the woman said. "What a spectacle. Me and Clyde watched them up on Meek Hill. Never seen nothing like that before. So many whites and reds." "What exactly are you looking for, sir?" Clyde brusquely asked. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." "I can't believe you if you don't." The stranger turned to the old man. "Fair enough. Something fell with them lights. Something not of this world." "Something?" Clyde shook his head and continued to brush dirt off the long wooden bar. "I don't understand." "Creatures from another world," the stranger said. Ricky Ray tensed up. "They look like us, but they ain't us," the stranger said. "But you can tell them by the yellow around their eyes." Ricky Ray slowly went for his own gun, but the stranger got to his first. In an ear-shattering second, the barkeep's face disintegrated into the back of his head. "Sorry, old-timer," the stranger said. "They have yellow eyes and they can assume the form of any man they come across." "Woman, too," said the saloon girl. The woman threw a long punch at him, her hand stretching like a tentacle which wrapped around the stranger's throat. Ricky Ray fell back in his chair, hitting the floor. The stranger gasped for air and couldn't get any. He fired off a wild shot in the saloon girl's direction. The window shattered, sure to draw unwanted attention, especially from the law. The stranger turned around and grabbed the tentacle with his free hand, trying to steady it. He saw then the woman's eyes, yellow where white should have been. Hell, he wished there were any color but that damn yellow. He pulled off a shot again. The bullet plunged into the floor. He really needed to breathe. Survival was his only goal now. Let the devil's stars fall for someone else to clean up. The stranger pressed the steaming barrel of his revolver into the unearthly stretch of flesh. He pulled the trigger. The deadly coil fell from his neck, oozing yellow sickness that eventually dropped to the floor. He quickly took a deep breath and raised his gun once more. It felt lighter, and the recoil wasn't what it was. He thanked his adrenaline for such an easy shot. "Holy cow," Ricky Ray said from the floor. The stranger looked over at him. Ricky Ray put his hand up in defense. "I didn't see any lights. No, sir." The stranger nodded. Boots clattered along the boardwalk outside. The stranger figured it was the town's marshal. Late, but on the case. The stranger hoped the man's eyes were clear. One more time, Danny told his brother. I'll get you this time. Travis waved him away. I'm going inside. It's too hot out here. Just one more. Travis went inside the small house they had been running around for the past hour. Lame, Danny said. There wasn't much for the boy to do. He wasn't into sports, so he didn't have balls to throw around. He was more into games like hide and seek and tag, but his brother wanted to play those less and less as they grew older. There weren't many neighborhood kids their age around. Those who were stayed indoors, safe from the heat and mosquitoes. He didn't feel like going inside yet, but he didn't know what to do. So he ran around the house. It wasn't a large house, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. Not much of a yard. He knew his classmates had bigger houses, but he didn't pay any mind to them. A house was just a place to sleep and eat, and to run around. He ran, imagining chasing his brother. Travis was 3 years younger, but he was somehow faster. Danny could catch him half the time, but not today, not even in fantasy. Danny rounded a corner and caught a glimpse of the back of a figure his size. Danny summoned what little strength and energy he still had and pushed himself harder. Who was this kid in his yard? It wasn't his brother. His pulse thundered in his ears. Around another corner. He saw more of the other runner. Did all 10-year-old boys look the same? Danny was going to ask him what the hell he was doing here. This was his home. He would protect it with violence if he had to. The other kid was slowing down. Danny felt like he could keep this pace forever. He rounded another corner. He wondered how many corners his house had. It should have had 4 like most houses. This was the 6th one he passed. The 7th was inches away. He slowed to a jog when he saw the other kid stop, his back to Danny. Hey, Danny yelled across the arm's-length gulf between them. The other kid didn't respond. Hey, Danny heard from behind him. He didn't respond. Hey, from further back. The kid in front of him slowly turned. Danny wanted to see his face, but he also had to see who was behind him. Suddenly, the air smelled sweet and strange. Maybe his mom was baking cookies, or a cake. He really wanted yellow cake with chocolate frosting. He didn't know why. Had he eaten some before? He had, but he couldn't remember when. His brain kept popping. He quickly turned to face the kid in front of him. Everything in view, from the back of the kid's head, to the rear of the house, to the line of palm trees separating their house from the main road, to the blue sky, ran like wet paint down a wall.